I found one thing that I thought looked quite cool using the wide angle, and that is this scene right here. If I can have one human element right there where the door is, that would be perfect. This video is the very first in this series where I take a good critical look at all my gear to figure out what I will actually keep, to downscale and minimize to be more effective. And we all love gear, but do we love gear for the right reasons? That is the question we should all ask ourselves if you are getting into videography or photography. And these are all my lenses. Everything I own in the interchangeable lens department, and this one in particular is the 10-24 f4.0. I'm going to have a good look at this one in this video. Pros and cons, who it might be for, and to me this is a curious lens, but good in a lot of ways. It's 10-24, that's 15 to 35-ish equivalent on a full frame. And it's also 4.0 all the way through the zoom range, which is nice. It's small-ish, at least compared to full frame lenses of the same range and aperture. And it's much smaller than Fuji's 2.8 wide angle zoom. Much smaller and versatile, I dare say. It has optical image stabilization, as you would expect from a new lens like this, and it will set you back around $1,000. It came out in 2020, so it's a few years old now, and like with any other new-ish lens, it's perfectly sharp and has good color rendering. If we have too much gear, all this fine hardware can eventually become a hindrance to our creativity, where it really should be enhancing it. And I think that's something worth thinking about if you are getting yourself into photography or videography for the very first time. Or if you have been in this game for quite some time, but you see all this gear piling up and it doesn't serve a purpose anymore. Now let's talk about the pros and cons. It's a super wide angle, which is great for landscape photography, architecture, interior, and maybe even street photography. That's my primary use for it anyway. And it's 4.0 all the way. That's something which is good. It's not the fastest wide angle zoom. You will have to pay a premium for that, but it's definitely good enough. I had so much fun with it when I took it out for a spin in Osaka doing street photography. It has that optical image stabilization, so I guess it would be good for videographers, and if you want to shoot handheld, you can use slower shutter speeds and still get a sharp image. It's weather resistant, it has a solid build quality, and for what you get, I would say it's fairly compact and lightweight. When you zoom in and out, it doesn't extend or retract, and I think that's good, especially if you want to put it on a gimbal to film something. On the con side, I would say it's a bit bulky. Yeah, that's just my opinion, because I use it for other things that I thought I would use it for, as we will get back to later in the video. It also has a weird focal range that I hardly ever use. Makes it somewhat of a specialty lens. So if you can find other uses for it, that's perfect. You should always have lenses, or your gear should cover more uses. That's a very good way to think about gear if you acquire new gear. It's also quite expensive at $1,000 and I got this for all the wrong reasons. I thought I would use this a lot for vlogging, and that turned out not to be the case. I just like the idea of vlogging, but I'm not a vlogger. I don't like to vlog outside or walk around with a big setup, i.e. this lens, and on a big camera as well, maybe even a microphone. It just makes me feel weird. Besides, I have my Osmo Pocket 3 for outside vlogging if I want to do POV street photography or something like that. It's just a much smaller and better setup for me that I can just chuck in my pocket. So to me, this is yeah, not so great. I also thought I would use it much more in my studio, but I have my dedicated Viltrox 13mm f1.4 for that. That gives me a much better and blurrier background, so I think that's much nicer. So this becomes somewhat redundant. I thought it would be cool to use for my street photography. That is the thing that I use my cameras the most for. I took it for a spin in Oslo just 2 days ago. It's really cool to work with a wide angle, but I'm not sure if it's my thing. We shall see. Oh, here comes another one. I definitely had a blast using it in Osaka for night street photography, but that was about it. I hardly ever use this for street photography. So in every way, for me, this is a redundant lens, and I would rather use at least 1 or 2, maybe even 3 lenses before I pick up this one for my street photography or travel photography. And if I really need a wide angle for something, I will just pick up my Viltrox 13mm that I'm filming on right here and get the job done. But, and this may be an excuse for me to keep this lens, I will try my best not to, because it's so easy to fall into this trap that you keep your gear just in case. Still, we just got back and I just built this studio, so maybe I will find a good way to put it to good use here in the studio. I haven't really decided yet, hence this series where I put all my gear under the microscope to figure out what I will keep. But ideally, I will get rid of 3, so I have only 4 lenses left. And if you want to find out which lenses I will keep and what lenses I'm going to review further down the line, you can subscribe to my channel and hit the real subscribe as well. That's the bell icon, so you'll get a notification when I have a new video out. Let's talk about who this lens might be for, because my reasons aren't your reasons, and if you can find several uses for this lens, that's great. This could potentially cover your every need. Let's take the vlogging example. If you want to be a vlogger, this house right here, that's an amazing house. I would say this is a great choice. You can put this on a gimbal, and since it doesn't extend or retract, it balances much better. It also has this optical image stabilization. So for filmmakers, I think this would be a good choice. Despite it being only f4.0, you get a very nice package in this lens right here. Also, if you're a time-lapse photographer, a landscape photographer, maybe even street photographer that likes to do wide-angle shots or wide-angle street photography, this could be a lens for you. And I hope this somewhat helped you in your decision making if you are in the market for a super wide angle from Fujifilm like this one. Now, if you like this video, and if you want to see the thought process of how I work when I'm out using my camera, especially for street photography, that is my main genre, that and travel photography. You can check out this video after. And next time, I will review or put under the microscope my 33mm f1.4 for Fujifilm and see, is this something I'm going to keep, and shed some light on why I got it, who it's for, and what I've used it for in the past. Again, if you want to see that, you can subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you then. Okay, bye bye.